When it comes to video games, there's nothing quite like that beautiful feeling of catharsis that comes from seeing a title through to its close. The rush of emotions that come from all of our hard work nearing completion and all of the adventures that we've been on is basically like entering a final exam hall with all of your friends and your teachers cheering you on. You've got the knowledge, you've got the skills, and thanks to that discount energy drink you've just quaffed before entering, you are a ball of nervous energy that is quite literally about to explode. Yet sometimes video games just love to throw obstacles in the way to make this journey a little more arduous, and in some cases chuck utterly ludicrous difficulty spikes at you in a manner that will make you cack your keks in seconds. Yeah, that energy drink's coming back to haunt me again. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 impossible video game difficulty spikes no one saw coming. Number 8. Beaver Bother, Donkey Kong 64. God, Donkey Kong 64 is a bloody phenomenal game, isn't it? From start to finish, this collectathon extravaganza is one for the ages, seeing you hoover up items left, right and center in every area you visit. It's a game that rewards you at every step, and even more so for exploring off the beaten path, as you're always likely to find something worth your while. That being said, much like somebody adding a dollop of mayonnaise to your hot chocolate, the sweet experience is somewhat ruined by the woefully unfair and insanely infuriating minigame known as Beaver Bother. In short, this minigame can choke on a banana. In principle, it sounds so simple. Chase a load of beavers into a hole in the middle of the room. However, when it comes to actually doing this, the game seems to crack an evil smile and simply refuses to play ball. You will grind your teeth to dust just trying to get these accursed creatures into the hole, as unless you approach them in a pixel-perfect manner, you'll see the wee bastards circling the rim with their dopey faces forevermore. Luckily, it's a moment that can be skipped entirely, and indeed many players choose to do so, but for completionists, this is a damn insane challenge that will make you want to bite through the nearest bloody tree. Number 7. The opening section, Nier Automata, Potato Patata. In most video games, the opening section normally acts as a kind of easing in period, where the player is presented with a mild challenge in order to set the stakes and teach them the fundamentals of the title. However, as with many things other than this, Nier Automata, Potato Patata, is not like most video games. Here the player is presented with a sheer-faced cliff to climb and comes in the form of an elongated opening mission that changes entire gameplay styles multiple times and ends with an imposing boss fight. Now, usually a checkpoint system would mitigate the challenge of this somewhat, but again, because Nier Automata, Potato Patata, just loves to be different, you need to complete all of these tasks in just one life. That's right, if you die at any point before you beat the boss, it's right back to the start of the game. Rough. Now, for veterans, this will likely only take them a few attempts to nail, but on the hardest difficulty, well, good luck, pal, because the difficulty increase here is insane. Enemies swarm the area, your health bar gets battered more than even your local chippy would be able to handle, and knowing that you'll be kicked back to the title screen creates an extremely stressful environment, meaning that you'll need to be a master of this title before you can even get this adventure kicked off. Number 6. The Wind Tunnel, Battletoads. Ooh, you gotta love them nostalgic difficulty spikes, and this one is a bloody doozy. Now, seeing your water-loving lad try their best to navigate an impossible series of dangers while going as fast as you can often led to you getting cut up more than my feelings did after listening to Dido for the first time. Why the developers felt the need to be so relentlessly cruel after just a few levels of fun is beyond me, as this section acted as a wake-up call more brutal than having your alarm clock clatter you with a brick in the face each morning. I think for many, it was the sheer speed in which you have to approach this that made it so utterly difficult, as one false move and boom, it's back to the start. Absolute stinker, this one. Number 5. The Dam Level, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES. Ooh, you gotta love them nostalgic difficulty spikes, and this one is a bloody doozy. Seeing your water-loving lad try their best to navigate an impossible series of dangers while going as fast as you can often lead you getting cut up more than my feelings did after listening to The Smiths for the first time. Why the developers felt the need to be so relentlessly cruel after just a few levels of fun is beyond me, as this section acted as a wake-up call more brutal than finding out that the time that you followed through after that risky fart in English class is this morning's topic of discussion on Radio 1. I think for many it was the sheer speed in which you had to approach this that made it so difficult, as one false move and boom, it's back to the start. Absolute stinker, this one. Number 4. The Whitney Gym Battle, Pokemon Gold and Silver. Now, the Pokemon games aren't exactly known for their difficulty. In fact, I'd argue that they're titles to be enjoyed at a rather relaxed pace. I mean, sure, you're battering a fellow human's beloved pet into a state of unconsciousness every couple of steps, but the sheer whimsy outside of these battles is so high that doctors have labelled it as sickening. However, you've seen the entry heading, you know where this is going. It's time to talk about Whitney. So, Whitney might look like one of the most unassuming of all the gym leaders in Pokemon Gold and Silver, but she is a woman who drinks only piss and vinegar and eats only your despair. prepare, for her battle was absolutely ripe. First off, let's talk normal type Pokemon. At this point in the game, unless you bagged yourself a cheeky fighting type, which was pretty rare at this stage, or had the good sense to trade for a little buddy to bust some heads with, there was nothing super effective in your team against her lineup. And when you got to her Miltank, well, to put it bluntly, I couldn't sit down for a week because my ass dropped out of my stomach entirely. This was a battle that took the udder piss, as even when you thought you'd whittled down enough of the big beast's health to call it a hard-earned victory, the bloody thing would heal itself and you'd be right back to square one. Curse you, Whitney! Number 3. Lady Comstock III Battle, BioShock Infinite. It's a rather strange thing to talk to a passionate BioShock fan about the trilogy capper Infinite. While many will praise the title for its lavish setting and compelling narrative and give props to its gunplay, which was certainly the most polished it had ever been in the series, there is one surefire way to make even the most die-hard supporter die a little inside, and that's by mentioning 2 simple words: Lady Comstock. This boss battle drained the life out of gamers across the world, providing a bullet sponge nightmare that essentially came down to crossing your fingers that you'd clip her before resurrecting the dead again, and that Elizabeth would chuck you the right ammo. However, as much of a difficulty spike that the original battle was, the third encounter, yes, they thought this boss was good enough to go 3 rounds, is somehow even worse. The setting of this firefight allows Lady Comstock pools of the dead to resurrect, and the wide open spaces give you little cover to hide behind. There's also no rails to use to buy yourself some time, and she is rocking the most health out of all of her previous encounters. It is a moment that is an arduous slog even on the lower difficulties and an RNG nightmare on 1999 mode. In fact, this very battle took me a solid week to best on the hardest difficulty and is one that I've cursed ever since. Number 2. Dr. Salvadors Introduction, Resident Evil 4. Now, while we all try to avoid making them in real life, mistakes are actually something of an honest teacher. Through defeat or coming up short, you can learn a lot more about yourself than simply just your limitations. You can learn how to approach situations better, or simply when to ask for help with a problem, and in the case of Resident Evil 4, you can learn to never, under any circumstances, mess with Dr. Salvador. You see, up until this point, which is very early on in the game, you're presented with the slow-moving but still fairly deadly inhabitants of the local village. Yet the good doctor here, well, he's a monstrous leap up from this, signaling his approach with the rev of his chainsaw. Now, first-time players are going to assume that this is just another enemy who'll go down in a few hits. However, after unleashing a few rounds into his face and doing nothing, they might regret not backing up more. And by that I mean that his one-hit kill chainsaw might leave them red-faced and not simply through embarrassment. There's no way to have known of his resilience and power in advance, but things somehow step up even further in Mercenaries mode, where a giant double-bladed chainsaw-wielding doctor can be faced who now moves at double speed. So yeah, have fun with that as well. And number 1, all normal enemies in the Tower of Babel, Final Fantasy IV/2. It's not uncommon for lengthy RPGs and JRPGs to hit players with difficulty spikes from time to time. Some are the result of the devs wanting to pad out their game and encourage players to explore, level up, and get on that sweet grind, and others are just because said developers want to relentlessly mess with you. The enemies found in the Tower of Babel and Final Fantasy II/4 are most definitely part of the latter. Not only does this dungeon contain a ludicrously challenging fight against 4 elemental bosses, each of which must be fought one after the other, but the regular enemies here can one-shot your entire party. There's something really off with your game when the regular random encounters can obliterate your group in ways that certified bosses struggle to do, but such is the situation that Final Fantasy players found themselves in. In fact, things get so bad that some streamers and speedrunners will cancel a run if even one enemy group is encountered in this area because they will know that it's a surefire death sentence. It is genuinely that bad. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 impossible video game difficulty spikes no one saw coming. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there, my friends. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Sometimes in life, we will be hit with difficulty spikes of reality that will wake us up to situations that either we weren't prepared for, or that are going to require a lot of effort to get over. But trust me, my friend, you are never alone with these problems. Friends, family, professionals in the support industry, people care about you and want you to do well. And I want you to go out there and absolutely smash it, alright? So never be ashamed to ask for help. We all need it from time to time. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.